don't pass your driving test, and it is upsetting when it happens, and because I mean the pass rate in the UK is around about 50%, so you got to think that half of the people are going to fail. Hopefully it's not you're that half, but when it does happen and they say to you, unfortunately you're not passed, it is quite upsetting. Some people take it on the chin and they'll move on and they'll accept it and they'll work on the faults and they'll get ready for the next test and they'll get the test pretty quickly if they're lucky, and good for them. And some people, it takes them a week to get over the disappointment, or they feel like giving up because they feel like they're never going to pass. But your day will come. You just got to think positively and look at the faults. If you're using an instructor, the instructor will help you. If you're using a family member, you need to speak to them about the faults and work on the faults, because if you don't work on the faults, they're going to happen again at the next test. You got to learn from them. It's like I had someone who came to me recently. They asked for a mock test, and they've done quite a few mock tests, and we went through them. We've done a complete mock test route, driving test route, and the person didn't pass, and there's a dangerous in there and a serious in there, and I said to the person, you need to go away with your family member and practice these things and go back to your instructor, because their instructor doesn't do mock tests, and just show them what you got wrong here. You know, it's silly little things like changing lanes without looking, things like that, or changing lanes as the car next to them, having to grab the wheel and pull them back. So silly things where it's under pressure, they're rushing, and these are the things you've got to say to yourself, is if you're making these mistakes under pressure on the driving test, you need to practice the areas where it's happening and just keep trying to improve the rest at the same time. And obviously getting the driving test is going to be a little bit difficult, so you've got to bear that in mind. But if you say to yourself, well, the driving test is going to be months away, I'm not going to do anything for the next 4 or 5 months, then you are going to get rusty. So when the test comes closer, you are going to get yourself in a position where you're going to be under more pressure because you contact someone and say, I can't fit you in. So you have to come up with some kind of plan, either with your instructor, where you have lessons, say, every 3 weeks, so you don't get rusty, one lesson every 3 weeks, just to kind of tick it over. And as you get closer to your driving test, you step it up. Or if you're constantly looking to bring it closer, then you start to have lessons after your driving test in the assumption that you're going to get a test that's quite close. Otherwise, you get a test and then you're contacting your instructor or your family member and you're trying to squeeze things in, and you've not actually had many lessons after your previous test. So it's going to put more pressure on you. But definitely if you can, keep practicing. I know people are going to say on here, well, I can't practice for 5 months. It's going to cost me an absolute fortune. I understand that, you know, and I understand the predicament that's in with the long waiting times. You know, it's not easy for anyone, but you've got to come up with a plan. You can't just wing it and just say, well, I'm just going to not have lessons. I'm going to look for a driving test, and if I find one, I'll contact my instructor. I'm going to ring round, because at that point you're going to become stressed, and you're going to be one of these people who's ringing round saying to people, can you fit me in? I've got my driving test in about a week's time. And everyone's going to say to you, nope, sorry. If you've got a nice instructor and you're decent driving, it's not been a long distance between the last test, they might fit you in for a few lessons to get you ready for your test, trying to help you out. But you've got to be realistic. Try and come up with a plan. If you use an instructor, get them on board so they agree with what you're going to do, or ask them for their opinion. Okay, good luck on your plan for your next driving test. I hope it's a success. If you're looking for a quick test, I hope you find one, but one of the best ways is keep logging onto that booking system every hour, especially in the evenings from 5:30 onwards, and then you might find a cancellation. Snap it up if you do. Okay, take care, safe driving.